Well, good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We trust that you are well on this glorious Wednesday morning. It is November the 16th, and we are thrilled that you are with us today. Again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Well, by the time you see this, you already know. Former President Donald Trump announced his campaign for the 2024 bid to be president or president nominee for the Republican Party. And again, I'm just assuming I'm just making the assumption that he's running as a Republican. He didn't say that he wasn't, but he didn't say that he is either. See, and I don't know if anybody else is saying that. I don't know if anybody else is saying that, but remember, if you heard it from me and then it happens later, you heard it from me first, right here on Rumble and YouTube and Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts and Castbox and Deezer and however you listen or watch this particular program. Yes, I'm old. I call it a program. I love this program. It's a TV show, Dad. Oh, it's a TV program. That's me. One of those interwebs programs. Yeah, that's me. Anyway, in any case, we got that going on. We need to talk a little bit about that, of course. I know the whole world just. I'm sorry. I've got my other monitor over here. I'm trying to be cool. Yeah, you know what? I think probably next week I'm going to do a little tour after I clean up a bit. The cool thing about the way we do this, you can't see that here and all of here is a hot mess. And back here, I think I found half. You all right, Jimmy? All right. That's the best thing about this. You can't tell what the rest of this place looks like, which is fantastic. You would have no respect for me if you did. So I'm hiding it from you. Okay. But we heard about, 2 days ago, that there was a missile that landed in Poland, killing 2 people. Well, how we do it in my house is once some shocking news comes out and everybody's cold and slammed shut. In my house and my friends, we always go, we do the whole Cat Williams, wait for it, wait for it. Yeah, because the truth about something will come out. What we're finding out is because, we're believers in this house, and people that I associate with are believers primarily. We know that the truth will come out. And it seems to be coming out faster and faster and faster and faster after the lie. So the lie or the mistruth or the half-truth doesn't live as long now. After the half-truth or the lie bubbles to the surface, just a little bit before it gets swept to the side and the truth pounces up. So we're going to find out. And I thought about this. I didn't say that because we were busy doing other things, but we're going to find out, or at least be able to question where that missile came from that landed in Poland. And the thing is, you won't be surprised. I was like, oh my God, was it Sweden? It wasn't Sweden. Oh, let's see. Because of the announcement of former President Trump for his 2024 presidential election, we got to talk about some new polls that are showing up and what they say. And then I want to talk about tools. I want to talk about jobs and tools. Again, thank you for coming to the program this morning. We appreciate you. We're going to be back right after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. All right, welcome back. Yes, last night at Mar-a-Lago, former President Trump announced that he is again running for president of the United States. Actually, he's running for the, as far as we know, the Republican nomination for president in 2024. I just got off work because I'm not one of those YouTube creators that have this massive following and we can this is my only job and I just sit around wait for Google to send me a check. Yeah, like that's gonna happen, but that's okay. It might happen. Anything can happen. God is good. Um, but in any case, or Rumble, more disappointed in Rumble than anything really. More disappointed in Rumble. Not as much as BitChute, but disappointed. In any case, I digress. Um, so I'm I get off work and I get in the car and I'm like, oh yeah, Trump's announcement's at 9 o'clock. And my head says, should I wait? Should I just wait? Somebody will tell me. I don't have to find out myself. I really don't. Because somebody will tell me. So I go to our two local conservative radio stations, thinking that someone's going to play this live. Um, Neither of them play it live, so off to Sirius XM I go to Patriot Radio, and there it is on Patriot Radio. And XM, Sirius XM, not a bad thing, not a bad thing. They should pay me for telling all of you that Sirius XM is not a bad thing. I've got three stations on Sirius program. I have the Patriot Radio. I have Joel Osteen. Shut up, whatever. And Real Jazz, channel 67, Real Jazz, because I like real jazz as opposed to stuff that's not jazz. So it's easy for me to go while I'm driving. Joel, Real Jazz, Patriot Radio. There you go. Now, that might have upset some of y'all that I do, Joel Osteen or Real Jazz, but I don't really care. Again, this is a micro creator here on YouTube. In any case, and I listened to the speech. And I listened to it from where I left work all the way home until I get in my driveway. And what I was expecting, I didn't get. I mean, honestly, I didn't get. I was expecting some big rant about how the 2020 election was stolen and we need to find these people and we need to go after these MFs. And I expected just total, I really expected a total just outraged, unhinged thing. And I didn't get that. I mean, if you listened, now I don't want to hear that you know what he said because somebody posted something on Twitter. Shut up. Go wait in the car. I don't want to hear you. But if you've listened and you tried to listen as openly as possible, because I was really trying to listen as openly as possible. Really was. And I didn't hear anything outrageous. I just didn't hear anything the man said that was outrageous. It was a political speech. It was a campaign speech. It was a rah-rah speech. So in every political speech and campaign speech and rah-rah speech, you always, put a huge, beautiful, warm spotlight on the things that you consider were your accomplishments, right? You always do that. Everybody does that. Everybody. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan. And I could just go back to the very beginning if you'd like. And then you tell me that I'm not telling you the truth. Why? Because one of the pastors at the church that was our head church before he retired, I remember he said this. He came down to visit in our service. He said, "Boys lie, and girls like to be lied to." Ta-da! And of course, in my brain, I went, "Politicians lie because voters like to be lied to. We like to be told that we can cut taxes and increase services." So when have you learned as a grown up that you don't get what you pay for? When did you learn that? When did you learn if you don't pay for if you don't pay for something that it gets better? I've learned as an adult this, that sometimes the wrong people are providing the service, and what you need to do is make somebody else provide the service, and it may be cheaper and it'll be better, but it's better because not that it's cheaper, it's better because people who can do it are actually doing it. Yeah, for somebody who went to community college, I'm pretty dang smart. No, people go, I'm not smart, I'm not talented, I'm just practiced. I've just paid attention my whole life. Sorry, I'm stroking my beard. I'm a guy who couldn't grow any facial hair until he was 60. So I'm guessing on that state, with that matrix, I'm going to be 150 years old. So took a long time to get this Santa beard going. Hey, I'm Black Santa. Ho ho ho. Get out my door. Anyway, um, so I'm not crazy like, oh my god, he said this, and then I just immediately got the fact checker. It's political speech. It's a campaign speech. It's a rah rah speech. So in that context, I was impressed. Trump stayed focused and directed and engaged the audience. It was literally classic Trump. Classic Trump. When Trump's on, that's what it is. Now, as I'm listening, my mind is wandering, thinking, can he stay like this? Because let me give you another prediction. If Trump stays like this, he will win the presidency again. If he just steps over all the crap that the left, all the poop they're throwing at him, and there will be much, and some of the left will have machine guns that are armed with poop. There'll be much. If he can just step over it, defend it like this, and basically do what I thought he did last night, was that he went scoreboard when his detractors are saying all he has to do to defend himself is look and go scoreboard, gas prices, scoreboard. Those are my gas prices. Oh, right there, scoreboard. That's my inflation rate. Oh, unemployment. That's mine. That's yours. Scoreboard. If he could just stay there, he will be formidable. If he could just stay there, Donald Trump will be formidable. Now, do I hold out much hope that Donald Trump will stay there? No, I don't. Especially in the primaries. Part two of the primaries. He is going to have challengers. If the Republican Party and, quote, conservatives can keep their snit together through the process and keep it about the process and not about the people, especially when we're dealing with each other. Let me give you a quick story. When Ron DeSantis was it Ron DeSantis? No, it was Rick Scott. When Rick Scott was running for governor of the state of Florida, Rick Scott was running again, in the primaries was running against a fairly popular Florida Republican political entity. And it got heated. And for the candidates to get heated is one thing. I don't care about that. But their supporters who were in the same party basically went after each other with all sorts of venom. Completely unproductive. Because there was more going on than the governor's race, which is much more going on. And that a lot of that didn't get done because if you were on the Rick Scott side, which was basically the Tea Party side, or you were on, I forget his name, but anyway, if you were on that side, then you know, nothing you do with the Tea Party side, right? And it was really a shame. Friendships, partnerships. I don't remember any divorces, but it was the same kind of feeling. And as a person who was young in it then, I felt like my parents were getting divorced. I did. Um, so where do I land here? It was hard, and it was completely unnecessary. Yes, if the candidates would have behaved differently, then maybe their supporters would have behaved differently. But you can't depend on that. Sometimes it's got to be like boxing, right? My favorite boxer goes out in the ring against your favorite boxer, and then for 15 rounds they beat the snot out of each other. And in the last second of the 15th round, one of our boxers catches the other right here on the chin, and they are asleep before they hit the mat. Right? And at the end, one is declared the winner. The referee holds up the hand of the winner. If it's my guy, I cheer. If it's your guy, you cheer. But when we leave the arena, we're still boxing fans, right? And what do you normally see? This is funny. What do you normally see when that happens? See a lot of MMA. You see it a lot in MMA, and that's the most violent thing since a knife fight in the streets. What do you normally see? They sort of hug each other, sort of hug it out. Yeah, it's kind of perfunctory, but it happens. They hug it out, and then off they go. We got to be like that. We have to be like that. All right, I'm going to take a little break. We're back with more of the program right after these messages. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. Again, thank you ever so much for spending some time with us this glorious day. Let me get this chair and this old table thing. Like I said, I'm going to do a tour of this at some point after I clean this up a little bit. For instance, out of nowhere, I can pull a water bottle. There's one there. Watch this. It's almost like magic. It's the same water bottle. No, it's a different water bottle entirely. Got like a bunch of water bottles. So if you're wondering if your host is well hydrated, I am. To combat, walk around as a 62-year-old guy with a body full of diuretics. That'd be me. Get the trash can back there because it's full of water bottles. Oh, and of course my Premier One driver cup. You can't see because of the crappy lack of green screen on Zoom. There you go. I love the smell of jet fuel in the morning. That's November 3 390 Golf Mike. Great dude. Follow him on YouTube. Great guy. Great videos. Just great videos. Made me want to get all my flight simulator stuff, which you can't see here. But as a matter of fact, I got Microsoft Flight Simulator operating in the background right now, heading across the poles. In any case, again, welcome back to the program. Thank you ever so much. Just want to let you know a little bit about your host, who I am, what I'm into. A couple of days ago, we heard that there was a missile that landed in Poland, right? That killed 2 people, and that's terrible. I mean, I'm not diminishing any of that. The deaths of innocence is the worst part of war. That's the worst part. When people who aren't in the conflict, who are truly innocent, die because of war, that's the worst. That is the worst part of war for me. So we hear that a missile has landed in Poland, which is a NATO country. And when a NATO country is attacked, the United States has said that we will help defend that NATO nation due to our participation in NATO. Well, Poland is a NATO country, and so now we're thinking that, oh, here we go, all is on now, right? But the news that we had a couple of days ago, that we didn't know where the missile came from, which doesn't make any sense to me, because there's got to be pieces of it. And look at it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh, what's this right? What's that right there? That's why I said in the open, I'm always like, wait for it, and then we can see, right? So here's a story that came out this morning, I think. This morning. Just a couple hours ago. Ukraine's defense minister, Yuri Sak, I think it's probably pronounced, is welcoming an investigation into the missile strike that hit Poland, killing 2 people, after President Biden reportedly told allies that the missile from the Ukraine was from a Ukraine air defense system. So the Ukrainian defense minister was like, "What? What mean? I ain't do nothing." He also said earlier that the missile trajectory meant it was unlikely for it to have come from Russia. Here's what our president said. "I don't want to say that until we completely investigate it, but it is unlikely in the line of trajectory that it was fired from Russia. But we'll see." Either it was or wasn't. Now, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, maybe you're not so sure. Maybe you are sure that our president right now, in his current condition, isn't sitting down in a situation room with a protractor and a slide rule, figuring out trajectory from known missile launch sites in the Soviet Union and predicting. He's not doing the math, being told what to say like always, just like in the beginning. From the AP, Polish media reported that 2 people died Tuesday afternoon while projectiles struck an area that was where grain was drying, and in a Polish village near the border with Ukraine. But it was a Russian-made missile. Here's the problem. It could have been a US-made missile. Why? Because Russia makes missiles, sells them. The US makes missiles and sells them. I think France makes missiles and sells them. So just because it was a Russian-made missile doesn't mean doesn't mean it came from Russia. It doesn't mean it didn't come from Russia. It doesn't mean that the Ukraine didn't try to get that started. You know, I mean, you've noticed that they've been kind of out of the news, right? Except that opening part of that, ESPN World Cup commercial. This could be one of the most emotional sports moments in history, right? What we have to be careful of is that we react immediately to whatever we're being fed. We get fed, and we get told what we're being fed is delicious, and it's delicious. Now, if we hold it in our mouth and try to figure out if it's good or not, it may taste like booty. Sometimes you just have to wait. You've had food where the initial bite was you weren't sure, and then you waited, and then it was like, okay, that's not so bad. That's bad, right? And then the same thing, you had an initial bite, and it seemed okay, and then the aftertaste was like, oh, this is like lighter fluid. What the hell is this, right? This is our news cycle today. This is the information that we're being fed, and our reaction to it needs to be, wait a minute. Let me wait for the water of truth. Cleanse my palate. That way I can think about what I'm being told. I can think about what I'm being fed. That's how we're gonna have to do it moving forward, my friends. There is no choice. Now, the Ukrainian, this is where I worry. The Ukrainian defense minister says it's too early to give any definitive answers, and it's very dangerous to jump to conclusions. So if the Ukrainian defense minister says it wasn't me, had to be them. This is getting stinkier and stinkier. This is almost as stinky as the Secretary of State of Arizona running for governor that runs the election of her running for governor and then wins at the last moment. It's stinky. It's stinky. It's like when the baby poops and the poop goes all the way to the back of their neck, so you can smell it. Yeah. Whew. We've all had children where we're sitting in the car and we're going, "What? My God, boy, what'd you do?" This is that kind of stinky. He says this. I would like to again stress once again that right now the president of Poland has said that there is no conclusive evidence of exactly what happened. So the president of Poland is like, we don't know what the hell happened. Something went off, killed a couple of our people. So what they're trying not to do is cause World War III. I don't know if our own government's trying to do the same thing. I don't know if our own media is not trying to do is doing the same thing. Nobody knows what happened. NATO is getting together an emergency meeting at the behest of Joe Biden, I think tomorrow in Indonesia somewhere. And we'll see. Pray the truth will come out. The truth will be known. It always is. All righty. Let me take a little break. We're back with more of the program right after this message. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. Um, but you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those one of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. All right, we're back. Again, thank you for coming to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We are thrilled that you are here with us this beautiful Wednesday morning. And it's nice out. It is. It is nice out. It's 74 degrees and a little cloudy here, so it's a little cooler. This is our winter. Brr. It's not noon yet, and it is not 80 degrees. Imagine if you live somewhere else when we get up in the morning and it's 9 o'clock and it's already 85 degrees. For all you people who love to watch leaves die, imagine living here with us. Yeah, it's good. Y'all stay up there. Because Florida is where it happens. And we said this all through the pandemic here in Florida. We said they hate us because they want to be us. And although the midterm didn't turn into Florida, and I'm glad, the rest of the process is definitely going to be Florida. Now, one poll, this is an article written by our friend Guy Benson over at Town Hall, is an outlier. 2 could be a possible trend, he says. What about a dozen or so? Earlier in the week, Guy mentioned a national YouGov survey showing Republican leaning voters now preferring Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to former President Donald Trump, way ahead of the 2024 primary, and frankly ahead of Donald Trump's announcement. DeSantis led by 7 points in a poll, a 16-point swing away from Trump in the span of 1 month. And what happened within that month is obvious and significant. A slew of MAGA-aligned candidates lost or underperformed in an underwhelming midterm election for Republicans, while DeSantis won a blowout and in shocking historic proportion. He beat Charlie Crist by almost 20 points. Now, I know that the president yesterday, because again, I listened because I was in my car. I wasn't watching. I listened. Mentioned his success of his candidates, his endorsed candidates. Now, here's the problem that everybody has, and it goes back to what I just said a minute ago. The expectation of the red wave, this hyperbolic, ridiculous expectation of this red wave of the entire country just going, let's go Brandon. First of all, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. It was completely unrealistic. And I did hear Trump say this, and I agree that everyone was looking for this big red wave and this big, but you just be happy to win by you can win by one, but win by a couple. For me, this is like football. You can win by one. You can win by one in overtime, right? As long as you win, because that's the only thing that matters. Because politics is policy. Ned Ryan taught me that. Those people who win elections get to set policy. You only get to set policy if you win elections. You only get to set policy if you win elections. So politics is policy. Having all of these highfalutin ideas while sitting on the sidelines, it's just that. You're sitting on the sidelines. You're not making policy. You have to win elections. And in the House of Representatives, you can win by one and possibly control the House. Now, will there be Republicans who cross lines in their battle, in their struggle to be bipartisan? Yes. Will they do that more so than Democrats? Oh, we've seen it. Most certainly they will. But we also saw that there were no Republican votes at all for the the Less Than Affordable Care Act and the Patients Completely Unprotected Act in the Obama administration. Not in the House, not in the Senate. We saw that. So it's possible. But if you don't have a majority, you're screwed. You're screwed anyway. At least this way, if you have a majority of one, you have a shot. In any case. So because of the expectation, a lot of candidates underperformed and the Republicans didn't do nearly as well as the expectation. Make sense to you? All right. In Florida, DeSantis has secured re-election, obviously. Republicans kick butt in Florida. That's all there is to it. Florida is now out of play on a national level. Florida is now officially a red state. It was solidly for the past few years a purple state. And a lot of it, and I don't think anyone can deny this, a lot of this had to do with 2016 moving Florida away from being purplish to more reddish. And then you can't deny that with COVID and Governor DeSantis moving it from reddish to bright red all over the state. the Marco Rubio Val Demings election that was supposed to be not close. Rubio destroyed Val Demings. DeSantis annihilated Charlie Crist. Annihilated. If Crist is smart, he'll retire because he is out of politics now. He should just retire. He should just go, I gave it my best. Move down to Key West, be with his friends. You know what I mean? And just be done. You should. Val Demings is too young to do that. So we'll see Val Demings again. I'm guessing that Val Demings will be a candidate for president in 2024. Just my guess. She'll have an exploratory committee for sure. Remember, you heard it here now. All right. Anyway, the GOP leaning voters have seemed to notice and internalize all this stuff, right? All this stuff. So there are multiple caveats to this hard movement towards DeSantis. You know what? And and there are a lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving pieces. And we just talked about them. So there's a dramatic inversion in the matter of weeks, intervening events that have massive impacts, clearly. And add the Texas numbers to the previous election polling showing DeSantis surging ahead in his home state in Florida, plus neighboring Georgia, we've got an intriguing phenomenon on our hands. And then one day ahead of the President Trump anticipated an incredibly early 2024 announcement, the Conservative Club for Growth dropped these polling numbers. And Iowa, plus or minus from August 13th. DeSantis is up 11 points. Trump is down 15, 48 to 37. DeSantis Trump. New Hampshire, DeSantis is up 7 points. Trump is down 8 points. And in just right, 52 to 37. Florida, DeSantis is up 7 points. Trump is down 12 points. 56 to 30. Georgia, DeSantis is up 8 points. Trump is down 6 points. 55 to 35. These are based on surveys. Now, you're asking, Willie, huh? Telling me? Why? Remember, I told you at the beginning when we're going to talk about tools. Now we're going to talk about tools. If you have a rock, think about this, a giant rock that you have excavated, right, gotten out of the ground. You needed a certain level of tool, a more coarse, I'll say it that way, level of tool, big excavators and maybe dynamite, right? To excavate that thing, right? And now you need to crack it open. So you're going to get a very large, percussive hammer-like thing to open that stone, right? You need a certain amount of tools. Now you're not going to hit it with a little gym. You're not going to sit there for 100 years hitting it with a little gym hammer. You're not. Like Andrew Dufresne breaking out of Shawshank. You can use a large, penetrating jackhammer kind of thing, right? To crack it open. And inside, there's beautiful gemstones inside, right? So you need to get those gemstones out. So no, you don't no longer need a large jackhammer anymore. You need a smaller, more strategic tool, right? And then as you are refining the thing that you are trying to get to at every level, the refinement, the tools change. They become less loud. They become more precise. You can't use the same tools. You and as you get to where the gym that you're trying to design to make it the most beautiful, you have the smallest tools, and you have to look at it not even with your regular eyes. You have to look at it with a gym eyepiece to see how you are going to shape and find the flaws and get the flaws out of that beautiful gemstone, whether it be a diamond, a ruby, an emerald, whatever it is. Right? Right? So you need different tools. Now, the company that bought the big tool thing that and the dynamite that got the thing out, they're very important. You would not have been able to do it without them. Or the big jackhammer that cracked open the big rock that showed all the emeralds or rubies or diamonds. You would not be able to do what you've done unless they'd been there too. And every refinement down to the smallest level, so you could have that beautiful gemstone either on your finger or around your neck. It took everybody, not all using the same tool, because I'm sure the guys with the dynamite aren't really good with the eyepiece and the little sander and the little, the little Dremel. Probably not as good. They're probably really good with the dynamite, but with the little Dremel and the eyepiece, probably not as good. So the same people are never involved in the entire process. It's a handing down, it's a moving on, it's acknowledging the strengths, encouraging the effort of every player involved. Let me give you another example. In the 60s, because I grew up, I was a small child in the 60s. Um, a very large part of the civil rights movement had to do with marches and sit-ins, large, open civil obedience events to gain attention to the cause. I think in the 50s and the 60s, those were absolutely necessary. Absolutely, especially as TV news was growing. That some of these things were a lot of these things until TV news were happening in the dark. People didn't know, and it was a great way for people to know because those sort of incredible events drew cameras for newspapers, cameras for television, live TV. Yes, it was a perfect tool for the time. And then what started to happen, or what should have happened, is that the struggle, the battlefield, and the tools needed changed. When you broke down the barrier in segregation in schools, that became a new battleground. Much harder, different set of tools, different set of workmen. Now I'm using workmen as a generic term. Get over it. Workmen. So the people who were in the schools became your front line, not the activists in the street anymore. However, what continued to happen is the activists in the street did not want to give up their role. And so they ended up in a place where they were not the experts. And so what happened? It was a sort of a ham-hand, heavy-handed approach that didn't benefit. So we wonder why we keep going around this mountain, because we don't want to turn that over. Well, if I can rabbit trail for a minute, a lot of people who are activists in communities like mine, a lot of young people their biggest complaint is that the graybeards will not get out of the way. And it's true. The graybeards and the grand dames of activism in Black communities will not get out of the way. They will not retire. They will not mentor. They stay in those positions until they die, literally. Interesting. So I think it's super important as conservatives that we understand um, that different tools need to be used for different jobs. Are we in a different place than we were before, than we were 4 years ago or 8 years ago? Probably. Are we closer or farther away from where we want to be? Kind of hard to say. But it's not the same place, that's for sure. So the type of tool that we need to move forward and to further refine this gem may be different than one we've used in the past. We just have to be open to making sure that we use the right one and use it in the right way. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.